It's 2023 and a new year of angling adventures, but for a change we're going to start off with a product review. Welcome to the new series of the Journeyman's Tales. So here we are, it's the first Journeyman's bits for 2023. And it's the Marmite of all angling subjects, the bait bow. Love them or hate them. Well, after years of umming and ahhing and tossing and turning about the subject, I've decided to get involved and I bought myself a RidgeMonkey Hunter 750. Now the first question should be, why the Hunter 750? Well, the only time I've ever used a bait boat previous to this was when I've been staying at Cherry Lakes, and you can hire one there for the duration. So my experience is limited. However, the internet is full of information about bait boats, some by manufacturers, some by popular YouTube channels who, shall we say, rarely find anything wrong with the product they're looking at. And then you've got independent anglers like myself who give their personal opinions on what they think about various products. And they are only opinions. And as we all know, opinions are going to vary on various subjects. But back to the point of why the Hunter 750. Primarily, as an aging angler, shall we say, I didn't want to be carrying around something big and bulky on top of the amount of tackle I'm already carrying around. Now I knew I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it because it was only going to be something I was going to be possibly using on my local syndicates, because not all venues will allow you to use bait boats. And I also knew I wanted a hopper that would be big enough for me to put a stiff rig in without folding it in half. But the clincher was you can load the 750 from the top. Now, having had experience of loading boats from underneath at Cherry Lakes and not being as flexible as I used to be, the attraction of being able to put the bait and the rigs in from the top seemed very good. Now, the Hunter isn't too big. It weighs in at just over 2.5 kilos and is totally top loading. Apart from the obvious batteries and the handset, it comes with a carrying bag and a mains USB-C charging cable for both the boat and the handset batteries. On the downside, it no longer comes with a cable that will allow you to charge the batteries on the bankside. The result was I bought a suitable cable for myself, a USB-A to a USB-C cable, which wasn't particularly expensive, and I could use it with my own power packs. Now, I was used to using a two-handed operated handset for the boats at Cherry Lakes, but this one comes with a single-handed operation, and it didn't take an old duffer too long to get used to using it, and the boat proved to be very manoeuvrable and quite fast. The handset has a joystick to manoeuvre the boat, an on-off button, a hopper button, and a button for the lights. And loading the rigs into the top of the boat is simplicity itself. You just lift the back gate, lay your rig in the hopper with the line passing through the slot in the transom, close the gate, load any loose feed that you might, and away you go. Now that works fine if you use a standard lead clip, but if you like to use a rotary rig like me, then problems can occur. Now if you saw my video on Home Pool reviewing the Nash Bushwhacker, you'll know the problem that can be solved by adding an addition to the hopper. I like to use the Korda Heli safe, and when placing under tension up against the transom slot, it will disengage the lead in the hopper. So you have to add an extra fence in the hopper to trap the lead, not the heli safe. If you use lead core or lead-free leaders, and you have to use tubing because that's what the water rules dictate, and use the heli tubing kit, then it's not so much of a problem because it's slightly wider and won't pull up tight against the transom and won't discharge the lead. So my early thoughts on the Hunter 750 are very positive. I think it was a bit of an error not to put a charging cable in so you can use it on the bank, but that's fairly cheaply rectified. And I'm aware that there were some problems with the handset in the early days, but I think those have been rectified now. And I certainly didn't have any problems when I was testing out the boat. The only addition, or one of the additions I wanted to make to the boat, was to be able to use my Deeper Pro with it. Now I'm aware you can buy articulated brackets that fit on the back of the boat, but kind of confused me how you could use that, take a rig out and guarantee that you weren't going to tangle the line around the Deeper Pro. Now, I fairly recently saw a video of a Deeper Pro extension kit that is now available, which you could use the Deeper Pro and the boat up to 200 meters. But it just struck me, you take the boat out 200 meters, you find the perfect spot, you bring it back, take the Deeper Pro off, put the rig in. How on earth are you going to find the same spot again? Without the aid of a GPS, it just seems to me fairly impossible. So I had it in my head that I wanted to be able to mount the Deeper Pro on the front of the boat. So there was a problem that needed to be solved. And I found the answer in a company called Custom Tackle. Now, I told them exactly what I wanted, and within a few days the bracket had arrived. Now, it simply velcros onto the front of the boat, and by the way, it's not your normal velcro. This is heavy duty stuff with heavy duty waterproof tape, so there's no danger of it falling off. But you can actually attach a lanyard to it should things go wrong, but I can't see it. It's pretty good stuff. The other thing I had to play around with a bit was the articulated arm on it. What I found eventually after a fair bit of use was too long, and I've reduced it down to about 60 millimeters. But it works fine on the front of the boat, and I haven't seen any detrimental effect to the handling of the boat. The boat manoeuvres around quite nicely with it on the front. You're not going at major speed with it because you're trying to read what's going on the bottom. But so I think it works a treat. Another addition was a bracket I made for my old GoPro, and that fits on the front of the boat. And again, that doesn't interfere with the handling of the boat. Now, the only other gadget I would recommend, if like me you use the rod line on the ground or it's on the rod rest, would be the RidgeMonkey line control arm, which clips onto the reel spool and keeps the line coming off the spool under tension. And that's especially important if you're using springy lines like fluorocarbon like I do. You can also achieve the same sort of thing by putting a block of foam under the bail arm, so the choice is yours really. So my final thoughts, I think it's a cracking little boat. It's lightweight, it's small, it's easy for an old duffer like me to cart around on top of the gear that I'm already carting around. For what I bought it for, was to fish a fairly small water, 70 to 80 yards, maybe 90 yards at a push. It's absolutely perfect, and it works really well with the Deeper Pro attached to the front as opposed to the back of the boat. I think that's a big plus in my eyes. Would I like to use it on a massive open water in a big chop? I'm not so sure. It's quite a lightweight boat. Now, I might be doing it a disservice. I haven't tried it. That's just my gut feeling on it. If you've got one, let me know if you've tried it on such waters, and we can put that information out there. So there you have it. I'm quite happy with what I've used so far. I'm getting used to using the one-handed mechanism to manoeuvre the boat around. It's not easy for an old duffer, but I'm sure you youngsters will find it a piece of cake. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again soon. Cheers for now.